start input and end input. So we have the two calls. And Objective-C, I don't think you even need to do this, but it's just for the compiler's sake so you don't get warnings. Okay, so currently end input doesn't do anything. What was I gonna do? Yeah, just now we're coming to the challenging part, and it's really a decision thing. It's let me finish what I was doing. Since we're using a new class, I think I want to make sure that everything works, because we will need to add this new mic entity into the program, into the entity list. It's not called fire, it's called start input. Right. And now what we have to do is we have to check when it's 0, and only then do we do the end input. Yeah. So that's a lot of copy and pasting, but I'm sorry, that's how I roll. I've always wanted to say that's how I roll. It wasn't too obvious. Okay, so we got what we need in this class. This printf statement might as well be moved because it's no longer valid with the new threshold the periods at the end of the threshold feature that we just implemented. Alright, so we got what we need in this class, but we need to add the mic entity somewhere. And I think that's just in game state or some file like that. Let's take a look at the main classes for Voicer. So my head is in the way again. I apologize. Input manager, no. Game state, nothing like game state, so it must be in classes. Isn't that weird how Emacs keeps pushing things down a window? I never understood that. Okay, game state, gamestate.m. That looks like what we want. Yeah, let's try it. Yeah, this looks like the place because there's all the entities, and I'm sure they all get added here. Mic entity.h. Great. And this will be a little cryptic, but yeah, here I'm showing. I mean, it's a manual. We're hard coding the map, so we have to draw it out like this. It didn't end up being like this, but so the S is probably the shooter. I'm gonna put an M here. Is that a good place for M? How about here? No, then I have to worry about the transform. I'm not sure if it handles that yet. Okay, put down an exit, add a shooter. That looks pretty good. So I can probably just copy and paste this and change it to add a mic input. So yes, start size. Size can be the same. We want the Y to change a little bit. And how does it I really don't know how this works. Map height divided by 4 minus 0.4. So the pos y is probably the important part. 0 plus 0.2. Oh, this is really hard to understand because there's no... Okay. If we look at the exit, we should be able to figure out. So map height divided by 4. Okay. I'm going to take this. Like that. And I'm simply going to multiply that by 3. That should work, right? Anyway, I might as well try it and then see what's up. Alright, this probably isn't going to compile. Lots of new stuff we just added. But let's give it a shot. Compiling and taking a coffee break. Undeclared identifier mic entity in input manager. Well, that makes sense. We haven't added the imports. Oh. We'll call that mic entity. Alright, second try. One error. Input manager state. State, where's that? Game state state. Oh, yeah, right. We need to get that singleton. Alright. Go. That seemed to have built. Let's run it and see where our mic object comes out. It's going to have the exact same look as the as a shooter for now, but it'll respond to the mic instead of the tapping. So we'll have both functionality. That was the wrong thing. I'm trying to dim the screen. Okay. Let me bring up this. Wait a minute. That's not what I wanted. Okay. So if you look carefully, there is another shooter looking object over here. Can I still tap it to control? No. Actually, it froze. Okay, what's wrong? Shooter, start input. Looks like I forgot to change some of the calls. I still have some shooter references here, maybe? What's the deal? Debugger says shooter start input had some trouble. There should be no shooter start input call because I'm using mic entities. You know what? No. So, I have no idea why start input would be calling shooter, because we've definitely checked that it's... Oh crap. You know what? I didn't even put the conditional. Sometimes you do stuff like this and you just feel silly. Yep. Don't need brackets. Alright, let's try redoing that. So, going back to that, pulling up that. Okay. Looks like it's working. Looks like it's working. And then the dragging part still works. And I can still tap this guy on the bottom. So we have up here our shooter object. It's not in the right location. I'm gonna fix that because, yeah, you can see it's like, if you can see, it's a few pixels too high. But basically, all we did really is clone an object, so there's not so much to be impressed by. What was I about to do? Move the thing down. So this is our mic object. Start size.y. It's 1/4 of the thing. I don't know what the -0.4 is about. But we're dividing the y up into four rows essentially. So this should be right. I can't see why it's wrong. You have to add start size.y for some reason. Actually, I copied and pasted the wrong thing. Yes, that's the issue. How about that? So this is the exit position. So I think map height times 3/4 is what we want, right? 0 plus 0.2 plus start size. I guess I can't get used to those. Alright, this should do the right thing. This will be executed, that'll be executed. Middle minus. God, this is a really cryptic layout system. Anyway, we just need approximate for now. They're all going to be moved around eventually. I'm just going to leave it like this. And we can test it when we get the next part implemented. So now we have to figure out how to grow the objects. And this is a little tricky because there's a lot of places that you could do it. I have to check that within sign object there's a simple way to grow the object. And I think I can just change the size variable. That might be a part of normal physics entity.h. Yeah, there's